This computer. All right, bet. So, like I said, we're gonna be going over just psych stuff. Also like pretty much how to plan your trades as well. Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and dive into it. I have a presentation for you all. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Let me pull it up first. Get the presenter view. Before I share it. Hold on. Slideshow, presenter view. Okay. Boom. All right. And then I need it. View, presenter view. All right, bet. So this is pretty much what I go over you all. Like I told you, in a 5-day course. I don't want to hold you all long, especially because we were supposed to start at 4:30 due to some issues with Zoom. You know, we had to delay a little bit, but it's all good. So we're here. So these are the psychology tips presented by me, Devontae Williams. Like I said, just to give you all a little background, if you all don't know about me, I've been trading in WSA since 2018. I've helped Q Banks as far as his in-person 5-day course. Probably about I didn't help TA probably about 7 classes, and this is the portion that I actually teach after everybody passes, you know, their test, and you know we get our A+ students and all that kind of stuff. They leave the class with these psychology tips to help them better understand the market and also give them a different outlook as far as different perspective and just a way to look at certain things that the normal eye probably wouldn't be able to name. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. And this is interactive too, so it's like I said, if you all have questions or just want to stop and talk about something, you know, just feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question because I'm gonna just run through it. Okay, so the first thing I start off with is without discipline, one cannot aim. And what I mean by that is you have to have parameters within your trading journey and just how you go about things in the market. So as far as like a certain workflow or just any way how you're going about things, you have to have parameters because without parameters, you know, you're just gonna be in the market anytime, all the time. Also understand that you can make money anytime, you know, Sunday through Friday, 5 to 5. So it's like putting yourself in those parameters and understanding like I have my certain trade times that I'm gonna trade. When I'm not trading, you know, I'm living my normal life. I'm doing, you know, other things, working out, you know, keeping that balance and things like that I'm gonna go into. But the first thing I want to talk about is you want to know your why. You know what I mean? And I don't mean just like, you know, why are you trading? Of course, we're all trading because we're trying to, you know, get time back in some type of sense, either to work on, you know, our own personal projects, you know, to obtain financial freedom, to, you know, get time for our kids, to, you know, all of these wonderful things that we're doing. But why purposely are you taking each individual trade? You know what I mean? Like breaking things down to detail and understanding, you know, what is my workflow to give me certain advantages in the market. You know, that's what I mean. So know your why. Why am I taking this position? You know, am I just taking this position because somebody gave me a signal? Am I just taking this position because, you know, my friend made $100 today and I'm trying to make some money? You know, like all of these things are real. So it's like understand your why. Understand, you know, why is it that you're taking these trades in the first place? Let me see what's in the chat. Vontae, recorded? Yeah, it's definitely recorded, bro. Definitely recorded. So I got you. I'm gonna try to keep the chat up too in the corner somewhere so that way I can you know, see when you guys are typing or whatever. But let me put this down here so I can see the chat as well. Okay, so yeah, know your why. You know what I'm saying? Like what's your purpose for this order? You know, why are you trading in the first place? Are you comparing yourself to others? Am I trying to maximize this position? You know, or am I just trying to grow my account? Basically meaning like somebody got a question? Make sure y'all mute yourselves, man, so I can run through this. So yeah, like why are you taking this trade in the first place? Are you comparing yourself? Am I trying to maximize versus grow this account? And basically, like I was saying, there is, based on certain positions, you understand when it's time to leverage your account. If I'm at a certain retracement level, if my risk to reward is minimum, like those are the times that I'm looking to leverage my account and take higher position sizes. But I'm not doing all that all the time. As far as like my casual trading might be just a certain lot size versus when I'm actually trying to maximize. Okay, so like these are the type of things that you need to be thinking about when you're coming to your trade. So that way it's not impulse related. We're not using impulse just, oh, okay, boom, I'm just boom, 5 lot. You know what I mean? Like we're not on that. We have an actual plan that we're following, so that way we can reach our goals and our certain outcomes, right? So also, am I withdrawing frequently? Like, and that's another thing. People will trade, and then forget to withdraw. When you got to realize that you should be growing your bank account at the same time you should be growing your trading account, right? And then, do I have a strategic goal in mind? So, meaning that, like, do I have a certain pip count that I want to have by the end of the week, by the end of the month? Is it a certain profit goal? Like, what's your target? What type of goals do you have? Do I have goals moving forward for the next month? Do I want to grow my lot size, by 0.5? Like, how am I getting better? Like, those are the type of things that I want you all to be thinking about when you're trading. So next we're gonna talk about balance. Like how often are you on the charts? Do you have a routine? Have you built a steady habit? What do you do besides trade to stimulate your mind? Do you meditate? You like to listen to music? Do you make music? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you eating? These are the type of things also that you need to think about as well, because you have to have balance. If not, it's going to show within your trading plan. It's going to show within your profits. It's going to show within, your results, because everybody that has experience with this has always said that trading is basically like a reflection of your inner emotions, your inner, you know, those type of things, if you don't have those things in control. Okay. So other thing is loss. What do you tell yourself after a loss? Are you the type of person to revenge trade? Are you the type of person to walk away and let the markets breathe for a little bit before you come back and analyze? Like, you need to have these things under control, so that way, do I have a limit as far as my losses? Do I, after I take 2 losses in a day, am I done trading? Like, that's what I mean by having these certain disciplines and these certain parameters. Okay. Um, I also want to talk about patience. How do you practice patience in your everyday life? And then taking that, how do you then, put that into the chart so that way it's applied there also, and then what are ways that you practice your patience in your everyday life with certain scenarios, with your kids, with certain, in your relationship or whatever the case may be. Like, how are you practicing this so that way you could take those concepts and then be able to, fuse it within the trading plan as well. Okay. So like these are just a certain topics that I want you all to think about as far as discipline, having discipline and setting parameters. Okay. The next I want to say is, this is a quote that basically I live by, that my mom told me when I was young, that I like to share. Okay. And it's, in order to live how others can't, you have to be willing to do what others will not do. Okay. So with these topics, I want to talk about just staying focused. I want to talk about, what it's like to be on a winning streak, being wrong, revenge trading, and then also knowing your style. And this is where, the focus comes in, because when you're on a winning streak, and anybody that's been a part of a team or even an individual sport, you understand that you have to tap into a certain mindset in order to be on a winning streak. And you understand how fragile a winning streak is, because you could go 6-7 trades and then lose that one trade. And because you didn't manage your loss, those 6-7 trades don't even matter anymore. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, you have to be tapped in, because any little thing can throw you off as far as your winning streak. What are you telling yourself mentally? Are you getting up doing the same things every day? Yeah, so that's what I want to talk about as far as winning streak. It's fragile. Mind, body, and soul must be aligned. Your chemistry must be right. Because if not, if one little thing is off, like for instance, for me, I played basketball in college, so we could be on a 5-game win streak, and we could have one teammate that ain't been getting no time in the game or whatever, and basically mess up the whole locker room morale because of his attitude or because of his emotions and things like that. So just to show you the fragile state of winning, you know what I mean? And anybody that you see talk about winning at a high level, it's a certain obsessity that they have with their craft, and then also it's a certain mindset that's aligned with that. And they always talk about mind, body, and soul. Those three things being aligned at all times. Okay. Being wrong. You know, you shouldn't be scared to be wrong, because even with all of the knowledge that Drew's giving everybody in this chat, the ability to learn as you earn and things of that nature, the money shouldn't even matter at this point, because the results are showing. So you understand at this point that the money's going to be coming in. So at this point, it's about the skill. It's about how can I learn a new craft that's going to set generations up. How can I change my heritage? How can I get aligned with and get on board with things that's been happening around this world basically forever. We're just now having the information to be able to be active, as far as this market, right? So it's like understanding all of those things, that you shouldn't be scared to be wrong, because when you're entering a trade, it shouldn't be, am I wrong or right? It should be, am I following my trading plan, right? And then revenge trading. This here, I'm sure everybody, I don't know, a lot of people on here, but a lot of traders experience revenge trading. And that's basically when, you lose a certain trade and you lose a certain a dollar amount. And then what you do with those, you take maybe one or several trades trying to get that money back. That's revenge trading. Okay. But what happens during that emotionally is that you're almost stuck in this state, like this paralyzed state almost, because you're watching the market, you're watching, everything that's going on, but at the same time, you're not able to actually focus on your trading plan. You're more emotion driven at that time. You see what I'm saying? Like you're more emotion driven, because it's like, all right, I need to get my money back. Maybe I had bills. Maybe I had this to do. I just lost this amount, so with this next trade, I'm trying to get it all back, or whatever the case may be. And then you end up losing more, you know what I'm saying? Or them people that get out of a buy and then get right back in the sell once they figure out, like we've all had certain type of examples and certain type of experiences with revenge trading. You know what I mean? And it's just one of them things that you got to realize, like, it's such things as regular losses. You know what I mean? So you shouldn't be scared of, okay, if I took an L, the biggest thing I should be trying to do is manage my L, keep that L as minimum, find out that I'm wrong as fast as possible. And then after that, you know what I mean? I should be analyzing until I see a right opportunity that presents itself again, because losses are just going to be a part of this game, right? So first thing you have to do is realize the game that you're playing, right? So that way you understand what comes with the game. Once you understand what comes with it, then you're able to be knowledgeable and then control your emotions based on that, okay? And the last thing is know your style. Figure out your style, figure out, what's your edge, as Drew likes to say, you know what I mean? Figure out your edge. What am I good at? And then be great at that. You know what I mean? Like the market is a place where, it's a lot of repetitive patterns, market patterns, candlestick patterns, things of that nature. So it's about how can I be accurate with what I'm good at, right? If I'm 75, 80% accurate with my trading plan, then I'm in a good place. I know my style. If certain people trade, certain market patterns, and I don't trade those market patterns, then it's like cool. I don't gotta, you know what I mean? If I trade GJ, somebody trading, GU or UCAT or something like that, and they catching moves based on their style, or somebody from I don't know, IML or some shit, be like, oh yeah, well I'm using, you know, oscillators, a whole bunch of other shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't even, I'm good within my style. I understand how I learn. I understand what makes me a profitable trader, and that's what I'm gonna be great at. You see what I'm saying? So it's a certain mindset that you got to tap into, like I was saying. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the next slide. So this is a new slide that I had implemented within Wall Street Academy. at the 5DC, and it's called subliminal perception. And subliminal perception basically can influence cognition. So that's basically like, let me go over the definition first. But subliminal perception occurs when stimuli, which is, for instance, money, gets processed by your sensory systems, but because of their short duration or subtle forms, they don't reach your full consciousness. So subliminal images of money also produce brain activity in the area of the limbic system, which is associated with your motivation and your emotion. So understand that you're looking at money all day long, okay? So when you're seeing certain news and certain things spike up in certain volatility levels and indecision levels in the market, you got to understand and be cool, calm, and collected, because you don't want to end up throwing out your bases. That's why I have buying in the seller's market. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, GJ been in the sell, it was kind of like in the seller's market. As far as AJ too, it was like in the seller's market. You know what I mean? Kind of this week. It was some short buy opportunities and things like that, but it was mainly like in the seller's market, right? So it's like, if you're not aware of the news and aware of what's going on and things like that, or can't even put a name to what it is that you're seeing, you know what I mean? You can end up buying in the seller's market, and have to reap those, repercussions or whatever the case may be. But being able to understand, like, I'm looking at money all day, I understand that I'm in the seller's market. So even if I see a buying candle shoot up or whatever the case may be, my bias isn't going to change. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get excited and impulse driven and throwing a buy just because. Like, no, I'm going to stick to my plan. I'm going to stick to my bias, and then I'm going to trade with the trend. I'm going to trade with the majority of the market. You know what I mean? Like, tapping in and seeing the market from that type of perspective. Okay, so much of human behavior occurs without awareness or intention. So just make sure when you're on the charts, you're on the charts. You're locked in. You know what I mean? You're not on the charts and playing a game. You're not on the charts and trying to cope it or couple it with something else. You're actually on the charts and locked in, because this is a craft that can potentially change your life, if you take it serious. Okay, moving on. These are the biases that I go through in the 5-day course, and I also have them in the Psych journal, that you could purchase at my psychfx.myshopify.com. So just in case you're looking for a journal or some type of trade journal to help you track your trades or help you as far as maintaining your trades, I just came out with the Blue Profit edition that some of you already purchased. So these are listed in the back of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off. We have cognitive bias, confirmation bias, regret aversion bias, emotion versus logic, perseverance bias, information processing bias. Starting off with cognitive bias, right? Cognitive bias are basically errors in how we process information, resulting in faulty bias or problems with the analysis. So understanding, are things valid, right? So that's understanding, like, all right, if I'm on a higher time frame and I'm at resistance and I see a bearish engulfing pattern, how can I find out if that bearish engulfing pattern is valid or not? I could go down on lower time frame, see if there was a break of support. I could, oh shit, my bad, y'all. I could go down, see on the lower time frame, it's a break of support. I could see if there was a counter trend line break somewhere, like things like that, like understanding, not just saying, oh, it's a bearish engulfing, I'm gonna throw in a sale. You know what I'm saying? Like understanding, like I have to go in and get detail and get the information and the data from the market to understand when things are valid. The next is emotion versus logic. Understanding how you feel versus how you think versus what you know versus what is actually factual. So when it comes to our technicals, we draw our technicals, right? Our technical analysis, our trend lines, our Fibonacci levels, or whatever. But our technicals can be drawn wrong, right? The only thing that can't be drawn wrong is the market patterns itself, is the candlesticks themselves, right? So what is the market actually telling you, right? And then how are we able to basically use all time frames to understand what the market is trying to tell us? So not how you feel, not how you think, not what you know, but what is actually factual here, right? So removing yourself from your perspective and putting yourself from basically a bird's eye view to be able to understand what's going on and take your emotions out of the market, okay? The next one is perseverance bias. And this is supporting a conclusion that we've already made. So if you have, let's say we're on an uptrend and we're starting to see that counter trend come down to our 38.2, we understand that means an aggressive push to our negative 27%. So because we've checked off everything that we need to, we've entered our trade already, whatever the case may be, and now we're maintaining our trade. do we have the perseverance to hold our trade and maintain our trade until it reaches our target profit, you know, or as soon as we see a little bit of drawback, we're going to exit our trade. That's supporting your conclusion we've already made. You know what I mean? Holding that, sticking that bias out until it reaches our negative 27%. You know what I mean? And then being able also to add orders and scale in and be able, you know, that's a whole nother level, but being able to scale in and add orders and really take advantage of a move, you know, that's when you're really riding a move and trading the market, right? So being able to have perseverance bias in this market can make you a lot of money. Okay. The next one is confirmation bias. And this is reasons to a certain conclusion that we've already made after seeing warnings. So that's basically, like I said, we got in that 38.2 and we started seeing warning signs. We started seeing a bunch of buyers exhaustion. We started seeing a break of a support. We saw like a lower high point that was formed to let you know basically that market could continue going to that next PRZ level, which would be, you know, to some people maybe 50%, maybe 61.8. So just being able to understand like, oh, if I'm seeing warning signs, you know, I should probably get out this trade, or I should probably, you know, start to look for more detail as to why this trend is slowing down and things like that. You know, so that's confirmation bias. The next one I want to talk about is information processing bias, and this is basically how are we digesting information? You know, how are we like I said, taking all time frames and being able to cut it down, chop it up, so that way we can understand the larger picture and the bigger picture. And then the last one I want to talk about is regret aversion bias. And this is when people fear that their decision will turn out to be wrong. So in hindsight, they end up exhibiting regret, right? So that's, like I said earlier with my example, when somebody, you know, with the whole subliminal perception thing, when somebody could be in a bear market and they see a bullish move, but because of that bullish move, they're impulse driven and they end up clicking buy, right? But you already know, as soon as you click buy, your brain goes back regular and you understand that, yo, I'm in the seller's market. So now you're exhibiting all this anxiety, all this type of emotion because you feel like you shouldn't be in this trade. And if you ever feel like that, you should just go ahead and get out, right? But that's what a great aversion bias is. So that's a name to it, just in case, you know, nobody understood, you know, how they was feeling. And then the next one is research synthesis. And this is basically the process of integrating existing knowledge and research findings that are pertinent to an issue. So it is the combination of knowledge aimed for a purpose of testing your hypothesis. So what this is basically involving your fundamentals. So being able to go to an investing.com or a Forex factory and see when news is coming out, read the top headlines and things like that, and then be able to align those, so synthesize those with your technical analysis, because your technical analysis are basically a physical representation of the fundamentals, right? So of the news, right? Of what's going on out here in the world. So being able to integrate those will just give you a little bit more edge when it comes to getting in the trade, holding a trade, whatever the case may be, right? And then, yeah, you want to evolve your trading, you know, consistently compare your outcomes to your goals and test your trading style. You should be constantly wanting to get better. You know, if you're not upping your lot size, you know, in a couple months, if you're not seeing things clear, you know, just understand what it is your goals that you have. Like, they should be written out goals, and you should be comparing those goals with where you were 3 months ago, right? And then comparing where you are now with where you want to be 3 months from now, and making sure that all of that is aligned up. Everything that you do today is aligned up with where you want to be 3 months from now. Okay. And then the biggest factor in trading is confidence. Understand that, well, this is usually what I tell them after they take this test. I tell them that understand that at this point in your life, you already know what you need to do to get the results that you want. So have the confidence that you need to take it, you know, have the discipline that you need to stay within your parameters and follow your trading plan, right? So that's pretty much the psych portion that I go over, like I was saying. If anybody got any questions or anything that they would like me to go over real quick or whatever, this is the time to do it. So right now it's like, what, 5:11. Wasn't trying to hold y'all too long. No, it's Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. Anybody? No, we all good.
I just wanted to say I appreciate the time, bro.
Oh yeah.
Most definitely. I have struggled in past times with trading with my emotions, and factoring on all of these concepts that you just included with this learn and earn thing, man, is really key for me because I haven't been setting the goals. I just recently started implementing these things as far as the trading plan and the psychology things so I can excel in trading, man. So I really appreciate it. It's giving me much direction. And I
Right.
got a lot of work to do, man. So I just really appreciate the time and the mentorship, man, that you guys provided, man, because we most definitely need it. I know I do. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, no problem, bro. No problem. That's what we here for, man. And no problem. Respect. I need this. Hey man, that's what we here for, man. Iron sharpens iron for sure. And if anybody got any other questions, I'm definitely in the group chat. I'm active. You can hit up Drew. Please leave feedback as well. This webinar was recorded, so I'm gonna send it to him so that way he can upload it for you guys. And I appreciate you all being on, man. I really do. Because it's something I've been working on, and like I said, I've taken all these terms and all of these things and put them into the Psych FX journal to help you all with your emotions, with maintaining your trade, understanding what type of confirmations you have before getting in the trade. And then, like I said, I actually have 10 commandments that set out a mindset for you all while you're going through this. So if you all do need that, like I said, it's at psychfx.myshopify.com, and we get through things out quick, man. So, other than that, I thank you all. I'm gonna go ahead and end the meeting. And like I said, please leave feedback so that way we can have more Zoom calls like this. All right, I appreciate you all.